So today I'm going to try to get this skid steer back up and running, get it out of the shop. It's taking up space. I'm tired of looking at it sitting in here. Been here about 2 weeks. Like I said in the previous video, it's been a busy couple weeks with my normal job. I just haven't had the time to get out here and get this thing up and fixed. The shop's a mess. I'm ready to get some stuff out of here, get everything tidied up. Need to get that tractor finished here pretty soon too. Here's the new hose. I already got this thing taken apart. It was pretty easy to come apart. I'll just sort of walk through it and you can watch me put it back together. Maybe, if I can get some good camera angles. Basically, it's a real simple repair on these. You get the fitting back there, pop it loose. The hose just curls, comes up through these hoops. Comes down right here, drops down into the frame of the machine. So you do have to take the side cover here off, which is right there. And I took the front cover. You got to take the front cover off right here first, then the side cover pops off. That front cover holds this cover down. And then I just got done vacuuming all the junk out of here. So that hose just hooks up to that tube right there. I don't know if this one's been replaced or not. It's on a flex coupling down to there. And it was just a couple bolts even holding these covers on. There was nothing to that either. So I'm going to start here, get this hose on. As with anything hydraulics, you definitely want to keep it as clean as possible. So I'm going to start here, fish the hose down just to here, get it hooked up, and then I'll run it backwards the other way. Okay, so when you get this replacement hose, this protective covering doesn't come really attached. So all I did was zip tie it on for right now. I've got the shop towel covering where I'm going to connect it up. I'm just going to fish it down in and get this end connected. And put you about right there. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on my finger here, oil this O-ring. Alright, that's that. Okay, you'll see there. Let's see, which one did I use to tighten this? This thing was very tight. And I took it apart. And I don't have the wrenches that are big enough. That should be tight enough to not go anywhere. So that's the easy part. The same thing as before. Got the rag run down through the hoops. Like so. Make sure that face is good and clean. So these things had a nice, this wrapping on the original hoses had a nice clamp on them. I'm just using zip ties. I don't have any metal clamps that'll fit them. You can see this one doesn't even have one either, for whatever reason. There's my wrenches, my oiler. And this is just regular 10 weight or 10W30 engine oil. Move that up good. It's kind of a tight bend. I do think I'm going to change tactic just a little bit. I'm going to pull this hose back out of here and run it up underneath this one. So it's got a little more bend angle. That way it's not being bent quite as sharp as it was a minute ago. And with any luck, I didn't mess up an O-ring. And I'm probably all sorts of in the way. I just don't have a much better area to work out of. Now, hopefully that's tight enough. I will probably try and start this thing and double check there's no leaks. Okay, I'm going to show you how I end up. The easiest way to get this freaking cab to come back down is to use a ratchet strap. Just put it in the ends of these controllers, strap it down to the tilt plate, the face plate for the bucket. That helps hold the control levers out of the way because it's a pain, and I've done it with two people. This particular skid steer, I don't know if these are newer shocks, struts, whatever you want to call them, but they're pretty stiff. Of course, they've just never been used a lot. Let me double check, make sure I got everything the way I want it. And this thing's got a lot of spring to it. It's super quick. Alright, at that point, loose. Controls back. If you don't, the controls want to hit these plates right here. There we go. All right, start it up and some oil starts hitting the ground, I guess. I almost started it, not in it, but anytime you move those control levers, it's a good idea to be sitting in there for sure. After you put the cab back down. Everything looks good. Quick light. And I am hoping that that hose was part of a problem to where there would be some drift if you had a load or a bucket sitting there. It would drift down slowly. I'm hoping that leak in that hose, there's a leak in that hose that's part of it. Okay, so I pulled the cab looking for my socket. I don't think it's in there, I couldn't find it. I was curious if that's what was holding up the cab from sliding down. Actually in the back, this little finger that sticks through the cab that lets you kick out the lock pins for the arms. It was hitting the back wall of the cab for some reason. I don't know if it's gotten tweaked or what the deal is. But as you can see, it's just one bolt that holds the cab down, keeps it. One bolt each side. Keeps the cab down. You don't have to get them real tight. Just snug them up. This cab still acts like it's sitting just a hair high. Make sure you don't hit the window with the glass. Hit the window with a wrench like I just did and end up breaking the stupid thing. The skid steer doesn't have air, but it does have heat, so it is nice in the winter. It's missing the front door. It'd be nice to have one of those. Seems like most you see are missing the front door. And then the sliding glass on this side's gone. So I might need to put something in that at some point, but I've ran it in the winter. I'll show you this. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe so, depending on the light. Right back over my over the shoulder of the seat there. Pull this tripod up. There we go. It's not gonna show. There's a little slider back there. You can kind of see it when I zoom out and it focuses in a little better. There's a little slider right there. I'll usually stuff a rag in that hole, and basically what that slider does, you can raise the boom up, slide it to the sides, and it'll put these pins out and locks the boom in place. So you can get out underneath a raised boom if you have to by locking that in place. But that little hole there is sitting right beside the muffler, so you can actually probably see it on this side. There's the hole right there. Sitting right by the muffler. And then you got the fan blowing air into the engine compartment, pulling air through the radiator. and the hydraulic cooler and everything. So you got a lot of heat coming in here, and especially if you got the side covers on it, it'll force a lot of air through that hole. And I'm sure probably when it was new, I would guess there was some kind of boot sitting there to cover that hole. But anyway, there's not a boot there anymore. I'll stuff a rag in there to keep that hot air from blowing out. But in the wintertime, I'll leave the rag off, and you get plenty of heat coming in there anyway, and you can kick on the fan and blow heat into the cab. So it's plenty warm as it is in the winter, even without a door. So hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this thing out of here and see what kind of mess I left behind. I'm sure the floor is going to be covered in oil and crap. Always good to double check the tracks, make sure you didn't set anything up there. I lied, I'm gonna go ahead and top this thing off with hydraulic fluid too before I take it outside. Nothing important in there. Yep. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tune in for more. We'll be finishing up that 3600 soon. Okay, see the skid steer is still in there. I'm gonna have to go to the store tomorrow and pick up some more hydraulic fluid, but I just wanted to show you what I'm cleaning up with, because you can still see some oil residue on the floor here. This is my preferred oil dry. Works pretty well. It is wood shavings. These are cedar shavings here, so they're real dry to begin with. And they do a good job at pulling this oil up out of this concrete. Even after it sat for a while, I got a couple little puddled areas. Got all the dirt cleaned up. Everything's looking pretty good. I use cedar shavings instead of oil dry because we have a sawmill. We plane a good bit of wood. And then we've got this dust collector here off this planer. This planer throws off a lot of shavings. This thing is about half full still, and I've got a trash can over here by the wall right there, about half full of just pure cedar shavings, and it works pretty well if you can get it. And if you've got a local sawmill, they'll usually give this stuff away for free. So if you don't like buying oil dry at the store, you can pick up cedar shavings from a local sawmill, or any kind of shavings. Works pretty well. Hope